It is with great pleasure that I bring up to the stage writer, director, editor from Salem, Mike Flanagan.
Thank you so much, Tom. And I want to I have to start tonight by thanking Neon. I cannot imagine a better custodian for this film. At every turn, the team at Neon has just treated this film so beautifully. They recognized it for exactly what it was when they saw it and have leaned proudly into that. And I'll always be incredibly grateful for that. So thank you so much. And thank all of you for being here tonight. I also very much want to thank Glenn Basner at Film Nation, who worked very hard to get this film financed and sold around the world. Thank you guys so much. To my amazing team at WME, which includes, but is not limited to, Dan Aloni and Ryan Feldman and Will Maxfield and Patrick Trey Brady, who did an incredible job in getting the film in front of you. To my producers at Intrepid Pictures, Trevor Macy and Melinda Nishioka, who believed in this movie even when the path forward was, let's call it, tough to see at the very beginning. I want to thank Quagmire, Matthew Welty, Alon Gale, Molly Quinn, who stepped in and saved this movie's life a number of times. So thank you guys so much for that. And I wanted to acknowledge and thank the cast and crew because there are just so damn many of them here tonight, which means the world to me. So many, in fact, that when I was presented with the list of the cast and crew who are in the audience, I would spend my entire introduction just calling out the 50 names of those of you that are here. But I really think you need to be acknowledged because we made this thing together. You've brought this movie into life in such a beautiful way. So please, if you're a member of the cast and crew of this film, please stand at your seats and please enjoy this moment. Every single movie is the product of so many people coming together. I don't know if it's ever been so immediately true for me on any project I've worked on more than it is for The Life of Chuck. A person I need to thank as well who isn't here tonight is Stephen King. When I read Stephen King's short story, The Life of Chuck, it was April 2020. So the lockdown was only about a month old. And I felt at the time like the world outside my window might be ending. And I was overwhelmed with anxiety and despair and uncertainty. And when I started reading this story, it started in a very familiar place. In fact, I was concerned I wouldn't be able to finish it because it hit so close to home. But by the time I got to the end of the story, I was overwhelmed not with anxiety, but with hope and with optimism, with joy, and with a desire to look back at my life in a different way. And that movie hit me really hard then. The movie that played in my head as I read this story. I wrote to Steve and begged him for a chance to try to take that movie out of my imagination and put it up on the screen. I'm forever grateful that he agreed. The movie hits me today, though, very differently than it did even then. It hits different than it hit when it played in Toronto at the end of last year. It hits different than it hit when we made the film in 2023, when the WGA and SAG were on strike, and it felt like the world was ending in our industry for a little while. Unfortunately, I believe that those feelings of anxiety and uncertainty and despair are kind of what we have to look forward to in cycles. And I think if we look back through our lives, we can all identify those moments where it feels like the world is ending. But to Tom's point, I think we also always will need reminders to create joy and to take stock of our lives. I've been sitting next to Tom Hiddleston this weekend doing press, and I'm going to steal something that Tom was saying quite a bit. When asked what he hoped people took away from this film, Tom said something, and I'm going to butcher it, but he says it way more eloquently than I could. Something along the lines of, none of us are just one thing. All of us contain multitudes. We're not our job. We're not our role within our family or our social group. And whatever multitudes we contain, whatever brings us joy, we should lean into any opportunity to create that. Whatever that is. For Chuck Krantz in this movie, it's dance, among other things. But whether that's singing, reading, painting, running, walking, or having an unhurried, undistracted conversation with someone we love, the reminder to seize those moments and to make them is something I think we're always going to need, especially at times when it feels like the world is ending. That is how I feel today. I feel like this moment here is true joy for me. I'm incredibly grateful and overwhelmed to be with you tonight in this room watching this movie together. I'm supposed to just come up here and say enjoy the film, so I'm going to say that. But I'm gonna say something like what I said at Toronto, but a little different now. When we think about enjoying something, when we say, I hope you enjoy the movie, it sounds passive. It sounds like something that happens to us. It sounds like something that just comes and visits itself upon us, but that's not what the word originally meant. The history of the word enjoy, if you trace it back into the Old French, means something much closer to making joy, to giving joy. And that's what I hope this movie will inspire in you, chances to make joy. And when I think about what makes joy for me and how I need it at times when the world is dark, I think about my kids and my family. I told every one of the actors who I talked to about making this that I wanted this film to exist in the world for my children. So it means the world to me tonight to thank the last people on my list to thank, which is my family. All of my children are here tonight. It's the first time in my career that's ever been the case. I make scary shit that they're not allowed to see. This one's not, so they're here. But my kids, sooner or later, will encounter a version of the world where I'm not here anymore, where their mothers are not here anymore. And as much as we will try to do everything in our power when they are confronted with despair and with anxiety to calm them and to tell them it'll be okay, someday we won't be here to do that. And when that happens, I really believe that one of the gifts I've been given by being able to make movies and television shows is that I leave behind work for them to interrogate. And it better have something to say to them for when that day comes. This is the one that I wanted to exist for them. It's a gift for them. That's why it's so important to me that they're here. And finally, the collaborator of my life, the love of my life, my best friend, Kate Siegel, who's here tonight, of course, and in the film, who's built an incredible life for me and with me, and who infuses it with joy, unforced, every day. Kate is the person who absolutely would stop and put her briefcase down in front of the drummer. I've spent my life a little afraid to do that and happy to walk by. But thank you, Kate, and the kids for being here. And thank all of you for being here. And one last thank you to my extraordinary cast and crew. So many of you who have seen the film before, I hope you enjoy it tonight. And for those of you that have not, I really hope you love what we made together. Thank you all so much. Enjoy the film.